Usually people who do doubles leave with like at least 500, 400, somewhere in that ballpark range. So the fact that I left with like $300 and my feet were hurting and my brain was hurting and I was getting harassed and I was crying in the back. Yeah, I cried. Yeah, it wasn't worth it. Hey boys and baes, it's Ayla J. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel.
Looking like the type to drive me crazy. Save the name under Ayla. Talk for one day and really got me thinking if you was down to go half on a baby, we could make it happen cause you bad.
Today, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail and what I'm wearing, I'm going to be going over my Hooters Girl Experience. And yeah, just basically digging into different components and telling you guys how working at Hooters was personal experience. Before I even get too deep into it, I'm not going to come on here and bash anyone or anything. So if that's the type of video you're looking for, it's not. I'm going to try and keep this one more informational and like kind of like my opinion, but I'm not going to like start pointing names and fingers and stuff like that. I just try to keep it professional. So in my phone, I wrote down just like a couple things so I don't go off on a limb. But knowing me, I talk a lot, so I'll just try to stay to this. We'll see. I'm going to talk about like how I got hired, my training process, then like the day-to-day work life, kind of what I did in a day, and like how a regular shift would be, the standards you have to uphold as being a Hooters girl, and tips, which is like kind of the best part about working at Hooters is the money. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. I never say that, that's weird. First thing I'm gonna do is talk about my hiring experience a little bit, because that's usually what people always want to know. How do you get hired at Hooters, and like what do you do, and blah 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 blah, and what's the like process behind it. Let's start off with, yes, they do hire black girls, because I know a lot of people think like they don't hire black girls, but I was one of some at my restaurant. So basically what I could definitely recommend, because there really wasn't any option for me personally, but to anyone out there who's wanting to work there, you need to walk in to apply. I know that you probably hear that all the time, but like that's a very big step. What I did is just like one day in the afternoon, I got cute, kind of like this, and I had like a regular shirt. I had like a crop top on and like biker shorts, and I was like, I guess I should just go and apply at Hooters. So that's basically what I did. I went to like the closest one that I knew, because we have like about 4 locations around here, but I just went to the one that was like the general area that I kind of knew. So I went to that one. I walked in. I was already intimidated, so that was one thing, but then like I didn't really know who to ask for a application for. But like this one girl walked up to me, she's like, hi, like can I, how many, or blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, like I just wanted to know if you guys were hiring. And she's like, yes. That's the thing that they always told us to tell people, like when they came in asking for application, we're always taking applications. So that's what she said. They got a paper application for me, and they were like, oh, you can fill it out here, which I think a lot of people like mistake and like mess up with that whole process. You need to fill out the application in the store. Do not take the application and leave and try to come back. Like if you're able to fill it out in the store, fill it out in the store, because there's more of a chance that the manager will come out and speak to you, and then you have more of a chance of getting a real interview than just taking it, leaving, and coming back. Like just fill that paper out in the store. Also, another big tip, because I know this is what deferred a lot of girls from working there, you need to go at a time where it's not going to be busy. I'd probably say around like 12 or 12 to 1. Definitely not at like 4:30, because that's when shift changes. Go at like 6 p.m. when people are starting to come in for dinner. Like go at a time where you definitely can just kind of feel that the restaurant's not going to be busy, because that gives you more of a chance to, 1, talk to a manager, and 2, actually like get a good look, you know. I filled out the application, and I was sitting there, and they were like, well, once you're finished with the application, we'll go get a manager. And I was like, why am I already talking to a manager? I finished my application. The manager came out, he looked over it, then he started asking me questions like a real interview, which 1, I wasn't dressed for an interview, 2, I wasn't prepared for an interview. So I kind of went on a limb and just like was being myself, which is a very important thing. I think I did well because I'm outgoing, but you need to really get into the being yourself kind of girl. You want to be outgoing, you want to be energetic. That's kind of things that they look for. They don't really care about your answers unless they're like horrible answers, but like the pep and the spirit, you know. He basically asked me like my availability, if I was why I wanted to work there, have I served before, which I hadn't. This was actually my first serving experience. And then he also asked would I be okay with taking out my nose piercing, which was like a big like, huh? because I wasn't aware at the time that like you could not have piercings, but we'll get into that later. After I talked to him, he wanted to set up another interview with like the actual, like, not the general manager, but like, I don't know, there's like another manager, and so he wanted to set up an interview with that guy. So he called me and he was like, well, I'm gonna call him and see when he's free, and then I'll call you. So I honestly did not think, because he said he was gonna call me and I left without like an actual answer, that I was gonna get an interview. But he actually called me like 10 seconds after like I left. He called me, asked me when I could set up an interview, did that, blah blah blah. And the interview came. The really only way that I like prepared for the interview was like I printed out my resume again, which I did bring in my resume when I walked in too, so I think that's pretty good. But another thing I could recommend when walking into the restaurant is try to socialize with the girls. I know when I was waiting for my application, one girl came up to me and we started kikiing and like getting into it, and I feel like that shows just like great character, like, oh, she's already getting well along with everyone who already works here, so she's gonna be a good fit. Also, someone I went to school with in Atlanta actually worked at the Hooters I was working at, so I was like, oh my god, and she told the manager, she's like, oh, like, I went to school with this girl. So I think that did help me in a way, but definitely try and look comfortable and like, you know, get into it with the girls, because that's like a big part. They want you to get along with people, especially the people you're going to be working along with. Basically, the way I got ready for the interview was I kind of just like looked up a lot of things. I watched videos just like this one to get ready. I picked out like a cute, I didn't do like too much. I think I took a picture of my outfit, but if I did, I'll put it up here. I didn't do too much. I just wore a blouse and like cute little like slacks with like a print on them, and like I wore like sandals. That's what I wore to the interview. And I looked up like random like interview questions, and then I looked up Hooters interview questions, which I really didn't need to. I think I was really over prepared for it, but I printed my resume again and I brought that in also. So when I came in, I went to the office, I interviewed with like the head manager, I guess that's what you can call him. I don't want to say his name because like that's weird. Yeah, so he asked me like 2 questions. He was like why do you want to work here, and da da da, and he's like, okay. I forgot what the second one was, but it really didn't have anything to do pertaining with serving. So I was like, this is kind of weird. But then after that, he was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a uniform to try on just so you're comfortable with it and you know what you're walking into. I go in the bathroom, I try the uniform on. At first, let me tell you guys what I was wearing at first, and then I'll tell you guys what I changed into like as I got more comfortable there. So I was wearing a small shirt and medium shorts. Yeah, so that's a, when you're working at Hooters, babe, you want to show your sets, your assets. The shorts were small on me. I was trying to stay safe and, you know, not show too much butt and anything, but then once I started working there, I was like, damn, everybody's ass is out and my shorts are swallowing me. What's up with that? So I started off wearing a small shirt and medium shorts, and once I started working there, I got an extra small shirt and then small shorts, and then like 2 months into it, I got an extra small shirt and extra small shorts. And that's when I was like, yeah, we're lit. Like, my body looked good. I felt super comfortable in my appearance, and all in all, it was just better like that. I don't like to look like I'm being swallowed. Like, some people's shorts are just like literally eating them up. You need to be eating your shorts up, babe. But that's besides the point. So I tried on the uniform. He told me to come show him. I know a lot of people say like they had to take a picture in the uniform and get it sent to corporate. However, I was working at a privately owned Hooters, so there was like really no talking to corporate. It was just like, okay, you either look good in it and you're gonna work here or you're not. So he was like, okay, well, I just have one more question for you. And I was like, what? He was like, do you want to be, or would you like a job here or something like that? And I was like, yes, of course. So after that, we set up my training, which is like the little next segment I'm gonna get into. Okay, so training is gonna be 5 days, and you're gonna be working alongside with another girl. The first 3 days, you kind of just like follow your trainer around, and you kind of see like how they do things. You get like a big packet. I actually think I still have my packet. So this is my packet here. So you get like all the menus, this is the food menu. You get all the policies, procedures, and guidelines. You have to know that. And then you also get the drink menu and a kids menu. So for the first like 3 days, you like kind of just work on your packet. You learn kind of like tips and tricks that your trainer gives you, and you follow them around. It's honestly so boring, and when you're training, you don't make tips. It doesn't matter if it's like your last day of training or whatever. All your tips go to your trainer. So last 2 days that aren't the first 3, you're basically gonna start doing things yourself. So you'll start walking up to the table yourself, you'll start taking orders, making drinks and all that other stuff. So that's when you really get into it. I'm really a hands-on learner, so the first 3 days were horrible for me. I hated just watching. I wanted to do. The only way I was going to learn is like actively doing it, so that was like really annoying, but obviously I made it through. I did have to learn the entire menu, the drink menu, the policies, and the kids menu, because there was a test that I had to schedule at my training after my training was over to like get on the floor. But I think I came in at a time where like they just needed girls to work and I had pretty much open availability, so I don't think I passed my test, but it didn't deter me from working. Yeah, and I think as I learned, or as I was serving, I got so much better at learning the menu, at the drinks, and all that stuff, because like I said, I'm a hands-on learner. And like people would be like, what's on the nachos? And I'd be like, that's a beautiful question, until I kept getting that question and I was like, well, I need to know, you know? So it kind of just forces you to learn everything. But yeah, that was probably the hardest part about training, other than having to follow someone around all day. And you could always tell like the girl who was training you was not trying to train you. Like they were not trying to train you, bro. Like girls do not like training because they feel like they lose less money because they have someone behind them. But like, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about that. I really do. Don't get any tips while you're training, but you do get like a higher wage. I think instead of like $5 or $6 an hour, it's like $8. I don't know, you get paid more. You get like a free meal, I think. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it with the whole like training thing. It was pretty quick. To me, I did like the first 3 days in like a row, and then the last 2 were like in the next week, and then by that week I was on the floor. So I want to tell you guys though about my first night on the floor, because I was ready to quit. I really was. So I think because I'm such a hard worker, I wanted to be so good at what I was doing, because I know how girls are, and you could tell like even the girls, there's just a lot of talk, and I did not want to be that new girl that people were talking about because she wasn't being good or she didn't know what she was doing. I was like, no, I'm gonna hold it down. I'm gonna hold it down. And basically once you start like your first night, you're supposed to get like a small section of 3. For some reason, I think I showed so much confidence to the fact that they felt like they didn't need to give me 3 tables. They gave me a regular whopping 5 on a Saturday night. So and by the way, I was on the patio. So basically the tables at my store, the patio tables are kind of longer and made for more parties, so I had like a party section. So it was cool at first. Like I had a party of 3 at a 6 top. I was straight. I got like a party of 2 at a 4 top. I was good. Then I got a fat party of 14. I didn't know what to do. So that party of 14 literally beat my ass. Literally, it beat me up. It was really hard. I don't think that entire night actually I ran not a single plate of food. I didn't run a single plate because I was so stressed out. I wanted to stay outside of my tables because there's always something to do. And after I got sat with a 14, it didn't stop. Like people were still I was still getting sat with a party of 5 at a 6. Like it just kept going. I felt so much pressure. I didn't really understand a lot of stuff. Like people would order stuff and want to take stuff off and ask for different stuff that I never heard of, and I'm like, bro. So I was so thankful though that like all the girls that were there that night helped me out and my food, because I did not run a single thing. I'm still taking drink orders as the appetizer was coming out. I'm like, what's going on, babe? I barely ran drinks. The only drinks I could run were the ones I was making, which is from the Pepsi machine, and it's like iced tea. So that night was horrible. I wanted to cry. I didn't though, and I was ready to quit, but I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna give up. This is just the worst of it. I'm gonna get better as I go. And I can proudly say I did. So yeah, just you gotta stick it out. That first night and week after that's probably gonna be horrible, but you're gonna pick up things and you're gonna learn things, and it's gonna be great. Okay, up next I'm gonna be talking about the day-to-day work life, what a regular shift is like. If you work lunch shift, which is basically like morning shift, at my store you come in at like 10:30. We have jumpstart, which basically like we talk about what we're going to be doing for the day. We pick our sections. Usually we do the printout of our clock in thing, and we like bunch it up in like a ball, and like you can, somebody picks one, you read it out, and you're like, okay Ayla, what section do you want? And you just pick. So we would pick our sections. We get like our uniforms inspected, And then after that, you just start setting up for the day. So you're gonna set up like the teas, the soda machine. You're gonna make sure all the silverware is clean. You're gonna clean your tables, set up your tables, so like put caddies on there, and yeah, just get ready for the day. Usually I worked night shifts just because I was in school, so I could really only do night shifts. A night shift is different, just a tad bit though. It's more busier at night on the weekdays, to my opinion. So there is more like activeness going on. You don't just stand around or sit around a lot. Night shift starts at 4:30. You come in at 4:30. Same old jump start, pick your sections. Then the girls that were there before, if they have a table that's in your section, they transfer it off to you. They clean up whatever they need to clean up in the back, and then you sign them out. And yeah, that's pretty much how the start of night shift goes. But a basic shift is basically like you get a table, you greet your table, ask them if they want drinks. I do drinks and appetizers just to cut down some time, because I don't feel like going back and forth. Like, come on, you want something to drink? Okay. Are you interested in any appetizers? And if they don't know the appetizers, just start throwing them out. Chili cheese fries. Just start throwing them out so we can get the ball rolling, because why are we wasting time? Biggest thing is, like, you want to find tricks that don't waste your time and make it so you're doing multiple things at once, because that's what serving is, babe. You're gonna have to use your brain. And I think a lot of people didn't realize that, like, working at Hooters is just like working at any other restaurant, babe. You still gotta serve people, you still gotta be on all 10. Like, it's not a game. Usually our sections depended on how many people were working. So if it was 4 girls inside, 3 outside, the girls inside would get 5 tables. So that's what I was used to. But if someone were to call out, it'd be 3 girls inside, 3 girls outside, and I would, depending on the section, I could get 7 tables. So if I get a table, they're sitting, as I'm taking their drinks, I get sat with another table, and I already had a table before that, I'm gonna expect, you know, to like put in some hurriness and some quickness. So I want to know their drinks and I want to know their entrees. Anyways, if they get an alcoholic drink, you need to ring it in, it goes to the bar makes it. If they don't get an alcoholic drink, you make it. If they ordered an appetizer, put that in when you're putting in the drinks, because that's my thing. One thing about me, I'll forget to put the appetizer in, and will. So I'll order their food and they'll be like, well, we never got an appetizer. And I'm like, why did that happen? Which is another thing. You need to get close with the cooks. People, like, when I first started working there, I would notice, like, these girls were mean to the cooks. I'm like, are you slow? You need to be cool with the cooks. You need to get like this with them, because when you mess up, they're going to be more willing to help you out and rush your food if they like you. People weren't thinking like me. I'm like, it's forward think. You have to think forward. That's what serving is. Do your shift, whatever, make the customers happy, check them out, upsell them, blah 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 blah, get your tip and move on to the next. And at the end of the night, basically we would just shut everything down. So like everything that the girls in the morning did, we just clean it all up, basically, because I don't really feel like getting into it. Like, once you start working there, you'll know, we all know what to do. Next, I'm going to talk about the standards you need to uphold as being a Hooters girl. This is the one people are always kind of like interested in, because a lot of people think like, or hear certain things and they're like, is that really how it is? But it might be in some places. I'll tell you how it was at my restaurant that I worked at. So you needed to have your nails done, if not done, like plain like this. That's how they want. You'd have to do neutral colors. They couldn't be too long. Y'all should see me though. I still got long nails. They couldn't be too long. They had to be neutral colors, no crazy designs. Was kind of sucky, because I always like to do something different and crazy with my nails, and it kind of forced me to like settle down and do like French tip. But I would do like a V French instead of like a straight line. Like I would still go out of the box a little bit, but for the most part, like I do like cute little pinks and French. That's kind of all of the limits I pushed. So your nails had to be done. You had to look decent. Like, you couldn't go in there barefaced. Like, you could go in there barefaced, but at least have mascara on. Like, you have to have a little something. You can't just go in there looking like crazy. And I mean, I don't think we have the type of managers that would really be like, hey, like, you look bad, you can't be here. But the girls will talk about you. I don't know what's worse, hearing something from a manager or walking past a girl who's like literally talking shit about you. You can decide on your own, but that's just, don't get caught up. Like, you want to look nice. You're gonna feel better that way, and you'll probably make more money if you look, which is so crazy, because I actually did pretty much my makeup like this is how I would go into work. And I don't know if it was because I had to wear makeup every day or it was because I was around oily food, but I was breaking out so bad once I was working at Hooters. Like it was crazy. Your hair always has to be down, which as you can see, I am natural, so it was difficult for a very long time to have my hair down, because some days my hair doesn't want to be down, and there would be days where I would have shifts that are 5 days in a row, so I'd have to wet my hair and put gel in it and da, 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 da. Like I would go in there some days actually looking insane, but no one was gonna say anything to me. This is my natural hair. It was hard for me and my hair, so eventually I got like a sew-in. It's really limited. Like the braids have to be like either knotless or regular braids. You can't go in there with like singly twist or anything. And like your hair had to be like a neutral color or natural color, so something that you could naturally be born with. And like the highlights had to be like faint. I don't know, I didn't really like the whole hair thing, especially because it doesn't really include a lot. Like, okay, yes, you said we can have braids, but like as a black woman, I can't, a natural black woman at that, it's not easy to have my hair down every single day. Like no one understood that though. But yes, let's get into the piercings things. So you can't really have any piercings. I did have to take my nose piercing out pretty much almost every shift. I'd be so tired at the end of the shift that I would literally like forget to put my nose piercing in, to the point where it closed up. I just got it re-pierced, but that was annoying. You can only have one earring in, and it'd have to be like a small stud, but like you can't really see with the hair thing, so I didn't really worry about that too much. Jewelry had to be faint. Like how I have hoops, I couldn't do hoops. How I have 2 necklaces, I'd probably have to choose between one of these two. 1 bracelet per arm, and it couldn't be a hair tie. Rings, you can only have 1 ring per hand. Yeah, so it was kind of like really limited. Yeah, and then at my store, because it was privately owned, we only had white uniforms, so you could only wear your white uniform. Your white shirt had to be clean. Everything had to be clean. Your pantyhose, you have to wear pantyhose. Your pantyhose could not have a hole in them. If you had to come in and get pantyhose, you'd have to pay for them. If you needed them within the shift, you didn't have to pay for them. The shoes, oh my gosh, your shoes have to be clean. My shoes were like literally never clean. It's so hard to keep white shoes clean, but they want clean shoes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was like just really annoying, and that's kind of like one of the reasons why I kind of stopped working there. Well, I have multiple reasons, but one of the reasons I stopped working there is because of how long it took like for me to get ready. And I already live out the way. Like I live 25 minutes away from that restaurant. I would have to get ready like 2 hours early, leave like 40 minutes early, just because you never know the whole traffic thing. And sometimes like we would leave so late too. Like sometimes we wouldn't even get out, checked out, and like cleaned up everything till like 12, so I wouldn't get home till like 12:45, and then I'm ready for bed at like 1, but then I have to wake up again, and like it was crazy. It was crazy. Pretty much it with like the whole standards thing. It's kind of, it is what it is, and like once you work at Hooters, you have to know what you're getting into. That's what you're getting into. Last thing I'm going to talk about is just the tips. Now, tips are going to be different for everyone. Just kind of depends on like attitude, how good of a server you are, the time of day. Tips kind of like vary. So I don't know, because the whole tip thing is weird. Like you would think, oh, I'm so nice to this person, I'm spending so much time talking to them, and like I'm really getting to know them, and they tip you like $10. And then a person that you feel like you literally neglected and like barely went to their table at all tips you 40. You know what I mean? So people have different like expectations for a server. You kind of just have to feel that out, but really like the whole tips thing is it's fair game. Some people came in there knowing exactly what to do, and then you'd get teenagers and they wouldn't tip you at all, and you're like, most of the time people go into Hooters knowing exactly what they're in there for to tip. When I first started working there, I did like a thing in my notes of all the tips I made every single night. So I'll kind of read some off to you guys so you can kind of know basically how a night would be. I'll say the worst night, and this is when I started. You can tell, it's so funny to like look back at this, because when I first started serving, you can see how little I made, and then you keep like going down to when I like really got into it, and you can see how much money I made from there. So cute to see growth. So some days I would make $74. Some days I'd make $82. Some days I'd make $61. These days though, I probably got cut early. Some nights I'd make $283. Some nights I'd make $215, $144, $116, $215. Just depends on the night. The best nights would probably be nights I feel like I didn't work as hard, but I make good money. Like if I'm surprised at the end of the night, it's good. And plus, a good night to me is anything over $100. So y'all saw me reading off $74, $66. Obviously it was a horrible night. I hope I didn't stay that whole night. I don't know. But obviously it was a horrible night if I left with $74. So a good night is anything over $100 in my opinion. Worst nights are when you feel like you did a lot and you didn't make any money for it. There was like this one night I did a double. I picked up someone's shift at night. It was a Saturday night double. So I worked Saturday morning. I made like decent money. Saturday night came, I was like tired, my brain was hurting, everything was like, I just felt so discombobulated and I was messing stuff up and I did not make no money that night. And I left out of my double with like maybe $300. Usually people who do doubles leave with like at least $500, $400, somewhere in that ballpark range. So the fact that I left with like $300 and my feet were hurting and my brain was hurting and I was getting harassed and I was crying in the back. Yeah, I cried. Yeah, it wasn't worth it. I would say the best double I had was on a Friday night. I worked Friday morning. I think I made like $150 something, and then I worked Friday night. But we were also having a promo that night, so it was a calendar signing. If your store ever has a promo at the store, work that night, do a double that night, because I think that night I made like, I had that written down because I remember, I think within the morning and the night I made $421 in the morning and the night. We had a calendar signing going on, so we had a promo, so there was obviously more people in the store than usual. That night was kind of stressful just because I had 4 or 5 tables, and I swear every single time I got done with one table, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna clean it off right now because I need a second to think. And then I would turn around and my table would be clean and someone was already sitting there, and I'd be like, are you kidding me? I don't know. I try to be very like, I don't know what the word, I try to be very attentive when I'm serving, but when I'm busy I can't be that. So I was thinking like, oh my god, like I've only been to the table like 3 times to take drinks, to bring them back, to take their order for food and bring the food. Like I really have not been in their face. I haven't really checked on them. But to my surprise, it was $40 tip after $40 tip after $20 tip after $15 tip. Like I was getting tipped like crazy, and I made so much money that night. So you never know. You have to have confidence in yourself. Even when you think you're doing bad, other people don't think you're doing bad. That's my favorite part. Anyways, that's pretty much my piece on Hooters. I am giving it up now. It was my personality for a small little bit. I hope this video helped someone get the confidence or the information they needed to start working there, because girl, make your motherfucking coin, make that money, girl. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, bye.
She looking like the type to drive me crazy. Save the name under Ayla. Talk for one day and really got me thinking, if you was down to go half on a baby, we could make it happen, cause you bad as hell. And I don't